Now, with that, we have another bill, so I won't take any more time, although there is a tremendous amount here that could be addressed, and I vote aye. Members, by your vote of 4 ayes, 3 nays, 0 not voting, you have returned Senate Bill 1020 with a due pass recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members.
Thank you. Okay, we're on the final bill we're going to hear, which is 1135.
Mr. Chairman and members, by way of background, if a ballot is damaged or defective so that it cannot properly be counted by automatic tabulating machine, a true duplicate of the ballot must be made manually. The duplicate ballot is labeled and assigned a serial number which is recorded on the damaged or defective ballot. Senate Bill 1135 is an emergency measure that allows counties to use automatic tabulating equipment that includes what's known as electronic vote adjudication feature. The electronic adjudication feature must be certified for use pursuant to statute and authorized by the Board of Supervisors or officer in charge of elections of that county. In order to use the electronic adjudication feature, the Board of Supervisors or officer in charge of election must appoint an electronic vote adjudication board that consists of 2 judges equally divided between the 2 largest political parties who are overseen by an inspector. The board adjudicates and submits ballots for tabulation that are read as blank in order to determine if voter intent is clear on a portion or all of the ballot, or if there was an overvote on any portion or all of the ballot, and reviews write-in choices in certain circumstances. The bill prescribes requirements for tracking digital duplicates of ballots created by the electronic vote adjudication feature, including the creation and retention of comprehensive logs of all digital duplication and adjudication actions performed by that board. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none? Okay. I'm the sponsor, but just for the sake of time, because we don't have a lot of time right now, for the sake of time, that bill took a lot of time. Do we have somebody from the county or someone who wants to come up and address? Oh, there he is. Supervisor, yes, Supervisor Chukri, come on up.
Good morning. It's a long morning for all of you. For the record, my name is Eddie Farnsworth.
Yeah, I wish. Mr. Supervisor Chukri, normally we hold people down, but I want you to explain this bill in detail. So I'm just letting the committee members know that we're going to give you latitude. There's nobody in opposition. We're going to give you latitude to take the time to explain it thoroughly and tell us why we need it.
Well, I believe in brevity too, Mr. Chairman, so I can be brief. And we do have some experts here too. Scott Jarrett, who's new to our elections team, is very conversant in this. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my friend and colleague Steve Gallardo, who is also supportive of this measure and who chose not to wear a necktie today. But we're not going to fault him for that because he made me do it. And simply put, Mr. Chairman, it is a new day in Maricopa County when it comes to elections. And we saw that. We heard from our constituents. We heard from many of you back in 2018 the things we needed to do to improve them. And I'm pleased to tell you we have. This is one simple approach to doing that. And as you can imagine, the reason why we have this bill is because when something simple as an overvote would happen or a write-in candidate would be placed on a ballot, it triggered a whole policy where a bipartisan group, would come in and they would evaluate every single election, which just seems silly to me, and it seems silly to all of us. And so with this new technology we have, it simply will isolate that one election. So, for example, if someone were to vote for 3 House members in a primary when they only should be voting for 2, it's going to kick it out into a chain of custody that makes perfect sense, and then it's going to be adjudicated just that one race, not the whole ballot. So in the simplest of terms, I think that strikes at the heart of what we're trying to accomplish with this bill, 1135. And I'm happy to take any questions or go into further detail or ask Mr. Jarrett to come up if that's helpful as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Leach.
Thank you. And thank you for that explanation. In the explanation that I got, does the ballot actually get kicked out, or does that air spot or that whatever it is, does that go up on the screen? I was led to believe it goes up.
Right. It's actually, as I understand it, it's photocopied. It's scanned, right?
It's scanned.
So you see it, and the ballot actually goes into a secure box that is locked. And
so it never comes.
Gentlemen, we need to go through the chair just for this reason, so you don't talk over each other.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Leach, you had a question. Go ahead.
Yes,
follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's not kicked out, so you don't have a physical ballot outside the machine that has to go into that chain of custody situation.
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Chukri.
Mr. Leach. Yes, that is correct. So it would go into a secure box. The actual ballot, to my understanding, is scanned, so you will have a scanned copy, and that ballot that is kicked out is secure. Is that correct?
Everybody's shaking their head.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Supervisor Chukri? No. You look especially dapper today.
It's a rental. I've got to have it back by 1:30,
Well,
so I'm glad.
That's why I said we don't have much
Yeah, we
time.
don't
We
have
have
much
to
time.
get Supervisor Suit back to the rental agency.
But Mr. Chairman, and I know it's been a long morning, but Mr. Jarrett, can I ask him to come up, Scott Jarrett, who is our new elections director, and he can answer any other questions or maybe provide some input if necessary. If not, he looks handsome sitting in the chair. That's
Absolutely. We have 4 people that have requested to speak, well, 3 other than yourself, so we're going to hear from all of them.
Okay.
So thank you.
good to
Anything
see
else
all
you'd
of
like to say?
I think that sums it up. It's great to see all of you, and thank you for having us here today. Your support. I think some of you have come down to our facility and took a tour, and we're very grateful for all of you.
I appreciate you working on this and being here to testify.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we can bring Scott Jarrett. Mr. Jarrett, come on up. Just in a couple of minutes, if you could tell us what's going on in a little more detail, I guess.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Scott Jarrett. And for the record, I'm the Director of Election Day and Emergency Voting. I do report directly to the Board of Supervisors, and I appreciate their support. In addition to Mr. Chukri, who introduced me, we do have Supervisor Gallardo here, who represents District 5 for the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. And with your permission, I would like to distribute a handout that explains what electronic adjudication is, some of the benefits of that, as well as how it compares to our old process, manual duplication and adjudication.
If you'll hand it to the page and she can bring it up for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So, how electronic adjudication will benefit Maricopa County is it will increase security over our tabulation process while also significantly improving how quickly we can tabulate votes and report results on election day and post-election. So we do appreciate the members of the committee that did come down and take a tour with me a few weeks ago in the elections department, and were able to observe our demonstrations and how this equipment would benefit Maricopa County voters. I also want to let you know we do have Dr. Eric Coomer. He's a representative of Dominion Voting Systems here today. That Dominion is the equipment and the manufacturer of the equipment, our tabulation equipment that we will be using in the future. But will turn this back over to you and ask you if the committee has any specific questions about electronic adjudication.
Thank you. Any questions that you have? Now's the time to ask. We have a couple of the experts here. Nope. Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We have, and I would like to recognize before we move on, Supervisor Gallardo. Used to serve in the legislature and got tired of it and moved on to greener pastures, apparently. But glad you're here. We miss you. Yes, yes. But we're glad we miss you from afar. So, okay. We have. We may as well bring up Dr. Was it Coomer? Doctor. I don't think he's signed in. So if we can take note of that and.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Dr. Eric Coomer. I'm the Director of Product Strategy and Security for Dominion Voting Systems, and I'm the Chief Designer of the electronic adjudication product.
Okay. Would you address specifically the security that is contained in this particular voting machine?
Yeah, there's several layers to that. So for the first part is, unlike physical duplication, you never have to touch the physical ballot again. Right? So it goes into the secure box. It's secured with all of the other records. You never have to go back. So you're protecting the official paper record from having any kind of manipulation or damage by handling. In addition, every single action that takes place through the adjudication process is logged digitally, right? And all of that can be produced in reports, so you have a full log of every action that's happened to a ballot from the time it was scanned to the time it was reported on.
How do you prevent or minimize hacking and that kind of shenanigan?
Yeah, so all of our the actual images of the ballots, those are signed digitally, all right, to detect any manipulation to the data. Again, every action is logged within the system in an encrypted record that prevents any kind of manipulation of those records. In addition, every time the ballot is scanned, we actually create and append a digital record to the actual image of the ballot that shows how the tabulator interpreted that vote at scan time. And again, as I said, any action that's taken through the adjudication process is also logged in that same digital record that's included in the image of the ballot.
Okay. Just one other question. Just one other question. The purpose of this is, as described by Mr. Chukri, by Supervisor Chukri, was you don't have to spoil the entire ballot. You can isolate those where you have a spoiled vote or an incorrect vote. What percentage of false positives do you have in this system?
False positives, that's a little hard to actually give you a definitive number. I can tell you that based on experience in other jurisdictions that use this product, we usually see about a 5% adjudication rate, so about 5% of the ballots end up going through this system. But because of the variety of voter intent laws that exist between states, it's hard to give an exact number of what the false positives are.
But it would certainly be something less than 5%.
Yes, much less than 5%.
Since 5% seems to be the cap anyway. Okay,
correct.
so much less than 5%. All right. Any other questions? Mr. Leach.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the question would be, obviously, a manual system takes a long time. I mean, one of the benefits has to be the turnaround. It's almost, fairly immediate?
Mr. Chair, Senator Leach, yes, again, based on actual numbers from other jurisdictions that use this process, each adjudication on a fairly long ballot takes about 45 seconds on average, where a manual duplication process can take, in some processes, can take hours, because you have to actually pull the ballot, you have to refill in the ballot, and then you have to rescan the ballot and retabulate that.
Mr. Chairman, I think I found some money for the previous question.
Good for you. Always looking out for the people. I like that, Mr. Leach. Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you. We appreciate you being here and your testimony. We have Jen Sweeney Marson. Do I have to say Sweeney since it's in parentheses?
Mr. Chair, you're the only chair who still says Sweeney. I just put that in for reference because I've been around a long time and I want to make sure people know who I am. But I might take it out because you're the only one who still uses it. Okay, so Jen Sweeney Marson with the Association of Counties. So I just want to make sure the committee and the chamber know a couple of things. While the bill is coming out of Maricopa County, it has the full support of the recorders and elections directors from across the state. We do have several other counties who sort of have this technology in their system right now, but it's turned off. They're not using it. So this will be an opportunity for those counties to maybe turn that switch on in 21 or 22, moving forward into other election cycles. There's two things that I want to point out that we've had questions on as we've talked about this bill. The first is, yes, it's a great technology, but it's people using the technology. It's the bipartisan election board that's assigned. It's not the technology doing the thing. It's the people using the technology to do a thing. So I want to make that real clear. And the second is we've had questions about the blank ballot portion. And I just want to make sure when it's not that the machine is going to be reading a blank ballot and then filling in things on its own, right? Or the board would be doing that. But if you think about the way the instructions tell a voter to mark the ballot, let's say they don't fill in the arrow, but they circle the arrow. Well, the machine reads that as a blank ballot. But when a person looks at it, they can clearly determine the voter's intent. So that's what that blank determining voter's intent sentence is about. I just wanted to make sure that's clear for the committee and the chamber. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Any questions? Hearing none. Thank you very much. We have Rivco Knox, the ever informative Rivco Knox. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and I will not take the full 2 minutes. Good morning, Chairman Farnsworth and members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I'm here on behalf of the Nonpartisan League of Women Voters. Just to repeat quickly, our position on bills is based on their substance rather than who the sponsor or sponsors are. And because the League supports voting systems that have appropriate security measures to prevent fraud or technology disruptions, we believe every vote should count. We consider this bill to be an important measure to ensure there's a tabulation trail for votes. We further support the emergency clause included in this bill so that it will swiftly apply to all upcoming elections. Thus, we enthusiastically support Senate Bill 1135 and plan to do the same when House Bill 2305 is heard in the House. Thank you for allowing the League to present its position on the bill. Thank you.
Thanks for your clarification on the sponsor. Your enthusiastic support brings a tear to my eye. So thank you.
Would you like a Kleenex?
Please, yes. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, just for clarification, Ms. Knox, you're in favor of this bill? Wow, see, the future looks brighter already.
And yes, and thank you. In spite of the sponsor. Yeah. Figuratively, in spite of the sponsor. Yes. Okay. I don't think we have anybody else who would like to speak. Supervisor Gallardo, would you want to take a moment, or are you okay? You're good? Okay.
Yeah. Don't
That's too bad.
He's not going to give you that time.
Yeah, that's okay. Just out of deference and respect, I want to give you an opportunity. So, but I do appreciate you saying no. Okay, I think that's it. So, Mr. Vice Chairman, would you move the bill, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that Senate Bill 1135 be returned with the due pass recommendation.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Secretary, please call the roll.
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I just explained my vote.
Please proceed.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to some of my past experiences in Pima County. I actually, before I ran for office, observed the duplication process with the bipartisan staff, and I'm really glad that this system allows the recognition of voter intent, and this is really a very good thing to just isolate the problem area. So with that, I vote an enthusiastic aye.
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 Aye. Members, by your vote of 7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 not voting, you've returned Senate Bill 1135 with the due pass recommendation. Thank you very much. All right, that's all the business we have today, so we are adjourned.